Hi there and welcome to a new episode of Behind the Lens, and I'm Paul and thank you for watching. In today's episode I'm going to discuss the main reasons why I returned the Sigma 150-600 Contemporary for Sony. This is important, it's for Sony. As I'm a Sony user on my A7 III, I bought this after long consideration, many reviews, both written and here on YouTube, and it turns out that this camera isn't really working for me on my Sony A7III. So I'm going to give you one of the reasons. But before I do so, a bit of background. Over the last 3 years I changed from Panasonic Lumix into Sony E Mount, followed by a transition into Sony FE on my A7 Mark III. And with that I also found out that I really love outdoor photography in combination with walking or hiking, nature photography, wildlife, landscaping, macro, that's my thing. I had a ton of lenses, you wouldn't believe how many. I've sold most of them and now I only have basically 4 lenses in my kit. I thought, my experiences with Sigma have always been good, better than with Tamron. Let's buy the 150-600 Contemporary. It got some raving reviews. Now I'm going to tell you what my real experiences are based on 4,000 clicks in 2 weeks and really trying every camera setting there was to make it work. So the first reason why I'm actually returning this lens is the fact that this lens hunts, focus hunts, both on single shot a lot, less on continuous autofocus. But one of the great things about native Sony lenses is that they seldomly hunt, and to be very honest, this is also the first Sigma lens that I've ever had which has focus hunting. That's normally a Panasonic thing. So the autofocus here isn't really working that well. One of the main reasons why I bought this lens is that I wanted to have more focal range, so above 400 millimeters. So I bought this, which is 600 millimeters, and what I've really noticed is once you go above 450, 480 millimeters, the sharpness of the images in the center is decreasing. And there's one thing about the sharpness is you can do a lot in post-production. You can reduce the noise because of your high ISOs, you can make the image more clear, you can all do all of that, but if it isn't sharp in the center, you're going to have a problem. And that's what I've noticed specifically when you're going close to 500 and definitely when you're going very close to 600. So that was very disappointing. I've tried everything, forget about it. Additionally I bought the Sigma dock and of course the Sigma MC11 adapter for Canon lenses, because Sigma produces for Canon and for Nikon mounts. So that was one of the things, autofocus hunting at times, also in continuous and single shot, I can somehow imagine it, but it's very frustrating if you do birds and then if the center of your image isn't sharp. That's a bummer, it really is a bummer, because I kind of look forward to this lens. It's got such a fantastic design here. You've got your 3 focus modes, you can do your pannings, distance, everything you can do in there, and still you can't get that sharp image. Now the third option, or the third reason, is that because this is a non-native lens, and I think that has something to do with the adapter, many of the features like animal facial tracking, no way, which is a bit of a shame because I was really on close-up with a duck on like 3 meters or something, or 4 meters, like really close. And with the Sony 7200 you get a fantastic sharp image. With the Laowa manual lens 100 millimeters you get a really good sharp image, maybe even a bit better than the 200. With the 2470 from Sony you get a very good image, maybe not always that sharp but still very sharp in the center. You can see the eyes popping out and all this. You don't have that with this lens. Somehow some of the features don't get translated. So you have autofocus, you have the hunting, you have sharpness, and also some of the features are not really coming out. It's really a shame. I realized while using this lens that this ring here is very, very stiff. Unlike the manual focus here, the zoom ring is very stiff, really stiff. So if you have it on a gimbal head like I have and you're tracking a bird, you're like, ugh, what you get is pressure here somehow, because you're holding your, at least I'm then holding my handle, and you start doing this, yeah, you get pressure on your mount, and it seems to me that there's a bit of slack on the mount. So the connection between the MC11 and the Sony A7 III, I definitely noticed that was not rock solid, which was also a first because I've used Sigma lenses before and there was never any issue, nor with Sony lenses. So yeah, that makes this lens a fantastic design, and I think for Canon and for Nikon shooters this really works. For a Sony shooter, I would definitely reconsider before you buy this, and I hope that this review will help you in making that decision, yes or no. And one other reason is as well, which I personally, this extending part looks cool, right? In reality, it is more of a nuisance to me. And since I have the 7200 from Sony, I noticed that that lens has internal focusing, so it doesn't extend outwards, out of the barrel. Makes much more sense to me. So the 200 to 600 from Sony has the same. That's also one of the reasons. I think in terms of build, yeah, it's a native lens. I think that all my features will actually be enabled, where I'm very happy with. The fact is that if focus isn't good, sharpness isn't good at the extended part where you buy it for, yeah, so up until 450-ish, it's okay up until here. But then this last part, all of a sudden, yeah, the center isn't sharp. So you can't correct it either, but I'm repeating myself. So I called my camera and lens supplier, and I told them, like, look, I have the Sigma Contemporary here. What do we do with this? And basically they said to me, yeah, the problems, you know, are kind of known. If you have the sports, that's a bit less, but that's also 1,700 euros. So instead I opted for the 200 to 600 from Sony, and this is the one which is 2,000 euro, not the one who's, what is it, 10 or 12,000 euros. I really think this is a good lens, but on a Sony mount with an adapter that you can actually update your firmware with if you have the Sigma dock station, yeah. For me, it doesn't work. Yeah, so leave your comments, share your experiences. Thank you very much for watching. If you have any lens, even despite Corona, and you can get outside for at least an hour a day, bring your camera and start shooting. It really is the best thing there is. And with that, guys, till next week, then I'm going to be reviewing, or the next episode, not next week, but the next episode will be about the Laowa 100mm f2.8 2.1 magnification macro, which is a really interesting and good lens. See you next time.